All right, brothers, welcome everybody. So these are just some of the images of what we're talking about in the racist reboot. We have obviously brother Kwabena, and then we have brother McItosh with us today. So welcome both brothers.
Thank you, brother.
All
Yeah,
right.
thank you, bro. It's a big way. Good to be here.
Yeah. We did part one, and we actually dealt with what's happening with this particular reboot, and it is straight right. It's outright just it's the worst thing that I've ever seen as far as on the screen dealing with us in the last 5 years. And if you can see, like this is one of the images of the father taking a shower and singing with a roach. I think some of us have seen that. And I'm just gonna go through some of the imagery, and these are from various. They're stuck on this roach thing. This is what they're putting out there.
They got a spot on there, bro, where they having a contest. I guess a sister and brothers who's gonna get the best grade, and whoever loses has to pick all the roaches out of the cereal before breakfast.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They bring a dog. They want to bring a dog home, a PTSD dog, and they said we don't need no pets. We already got roaches.
Obviously, they got our sisters out there looking like they selling themselves, and then got this brother trying to hot wire a car, and you can see Laws got their hand right on his shoulder, just depicting us shooting at each other, and I don't know what's good about this, And this is him getting robbed by his own brother, and this was so crazy. They show, yeah, they show
What the hell was that?
What happened was,
Are they all locked up?
yeah, with Gray, the one that plays Thelma, I guess her name is Gray. She called and they have her as, I guess, calling in on what's going on, and then there they go and said thank you for the tip, and then they started arresting people and then locking people up, and then the baby complains about him ruining the profits for her calling the law in. And then, the mother is playing some type of politician that is swindling, the community the same way. Then you got gentrification, and they dealt with that. And this is where they're trying to play a little trick on you, where they cut at the very. This is like the 10th episode where they're trying to say, "Oh, we're fighting against gentrification," but it's the same example of throwing some dookie at you and then putting a little whipped cream on it. It's still dookie, no matter which way you put it. And so, this is, they're showing, what the community looks like, and you see how it's all fixed up once they kick the black people out. And she even makes some comment, oh, people are recycling, because black people don't know how to recycle, right? I think we're some of the biggest recyclers in the United States. And then they show the guy riding a bike. And then from what they're saying is, which this is a true scenario, and this is why I'm saying they're trying to attach themselves to an issue that is relevant in our community, which is gentrification. Now, you know how they moved some brothers and sisters in Nickerson Gardens and Jordan Downs, they'll move them over, and then they'll say, oh, we'll move you back, and they don't never go back. And then you find out that land was better, so they put condos there. Well, that's the kind of situation that they're talking about here, where they're moving everybody to some place called Harvey Projects.
Yeah, Harvey's in Illinois. It's a struggling south suburb, so-called ghetto south suburb of Chicago. And so this is based in Chicago, and Cabrini Green is the projects that they were living in. It still exists a little small section of Cabrini Green, but not the high rises. The high rises are gone, and it's already been gentrified.
Well, and so this is Harvey they're talking about. This he runs into an old dude from our neighborhood because they kicked all of the people out. And that's where they were putting them because they're trying to clean up the neighborhood. So I guess they sent them there. and then listen to look at the captions right here. What this dude is saying.
Sorry, they gave me a bus ticket to get here. Yeah, I sold it for some rocks and walk. Yeah, that's what some of the people from the projects that knocked down came to Gary also.
Now, this is where he's telling JJ he got to prove himself. You got to kill Durag. And I skipped a scene that's actually between that. He said, yeah, I bet I'll do it. And then he tells the dude behind him, after he does Durag, I'll do him. Just that, and he says done. So that whole self-hate gang element, they're putting in this. So that's just one segment. That's just what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with, and so we had the protests in LA. I saw the one in New York, and it didn't surprise me because one of the things that I've noticed, and some people might get mad at me when I say this, but the level of consciousness in LA has dwindled so bad to where we don't even have the type of people that are even protesting anymore. And so, but I did appreciate the people that were down there. We did have some serious brothers and sisters that were down there that seemed to be at a lot of the protests, but I to be honest with you, we can do a lot better, LA, as far as in the West Coast period. We got too comfortable, and but I just wanted to say that, but it was very inspiring to see those that actually came out there, because I think we did make a difference for the few people that were there, and sometimes we got to do our own commentary. We have to do our own commentary and put it out there so people can see what we're doing. So I think the one in LA I think it made an impact, but because I wish there was more people. That's the only thing. I wish there was a lot more people that actually participated. But there were people that were stopping their cars, taking I know Brother Kwabena, you were giving a lot of information to the people that were stopping them, putting them through their windows and all of that. So a lot of people got the information. So I was happy with that. Netflix got the message. That's why they sent security down a couple times to make it seem like we don't see that in on your shirt with security. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on, brother. We see it. So they, but it's just, I'm glad that people did come out. But like I said, I think we can do better as a people.
Yeah, we went around to the other side and we shared where when we were gone for a little while, where their gate was. So we shared the open letter, Dr. McItosh, and the other file we had with some of the employees. And Brother Harold, former Panther, he was up there giving them a hard time. It's like they give us a hard time, like they deserve. So yeah, and it's it's the whole dynamic. I think the whole East Coast, West Coast warriors that were out there, soldiers that were out there, was definitely powerful. But the whole dynamic is different. I want to share that a little bit, just something interesting. But Dr. McItosh, like I said, brother, we shared the open letter. We don't have any more left, and we copied a bunch of them and made sure they saw it. And one employee in particular, she was a little white girl. She said, "You know what? That thing is so tasteless." And so I understand why you all are out here. And several wouldn't take it. Several wouldn't take the letter at all. They said, "Hey, I can't take it."
That's
See, I have a problem with even comments like that is so tasteless, because I think this is far more insidious. This is psychological warfare, and the basic messages and the subliminal messages are almost more important than any specific image or thing that you might see. You got to take the thing in the whole as a whole. As a whole, the messages it served were that Black people are ugly, Black people are stupid, Black people are worthless, Black people are criminals and violent from birth, and that Black people have nothing sacred that white people are bound to respect. So these are those messages, as well as a couple of others, are more problematic than any specific image, although it has specific images that are totally reprehensible. They have the teacher with a flask, drinking from a flask with a pack of cigarettes in her pocket, making sexual comments to one of the students, a child, with the mother present and the mother not checking her. All of these are terrible images to project. There are things that we individually may not believe in, but the majority of our people believe in them. And so when they attacking white Jesus, when they attack black Jesus, when they attack God, again, in a subliminal kind of way, they have God with a lavender fingernail and a turquoise fingernail. When they have Jesus answering a cell phone to answer a person's prayers, and he's saying, "Who this?" And this is a throwback to the old Mantan Moreland movies, a throwback to the old Step and Fetch It things, where they would have the scene, who that say who that when I say who that. All of these things together are more problematic than a thing being tasteless. A lot of people do things that are tasteless. These things are warfare against African people. These are all against African values. And the interesting thing, and I pointed out before, and I'll be finished, is that they did not attack Islam. And I think the reason they didn't attack Islam is because the practitioners of that religion have served notice that they take things very seriously. And the Salman Rushdie incident, where they made caricatures of Muhammad, this man had to run for his life for over a decade. So I'm not saying that that's what you have to do, but I mean, with respect to African religion, they attack the ancestors with making a remark about Rosa Parks as though that's something a bad thing, calling her Rosa Parks, and in an act of sarcasm. And we know that particular cartoonist in the past has attacked Harriet Tubman, showing her with Gwyneth Paltrow, supposedly doing Gwyneth Paltrow, a nude Gwyneth Paltrow. So they attack our ancestors. They make an allusion. They have a scene, which I don't know how it plays in the actual series. I saw it in the trailer, in which you see the African god, who the Greeks call Anubis, Yenepu, is in the scene. What is he doing in this type of a vile scene? This is the god of the afterworld, the god who weighs your heart versus a feather, to see if you if you live eternally. So these are, we may not believe in any of these things, but the fact of the matter is that they attacked every major belief system that African people practice. And if you don't respond to that, then that's the signal that they can do another Red Summer like 1919.
And brother, you're right on point with that, especially when you look at one of the executive producers is atheist, right? What's the guy's name?
Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah. And so you can see why there is an issue there. But you're right. It's not just the imagery, but it's also the message. But it is they use the imagery to
project the message.
have people view us in a very negative image. And I think, as we talked on an earlier program, just like the Germans, the Jew situation, where they knew that once you start demeaning of people, and once you make it seem like these people are worthless, then it's easy for you to get rid of them. And that is how serious this situation is. And this is the argument that I'm having with brothers and sisters now, saying, "Oh, Thabiti, you put too much energy on that. People are gonna laugh and But I'm like, no other race would do this, because they understand that.
Yes, and I mean, there's certain things that are blatant. In addition to being similar to the German genocide, it's similar to the American genocide, because in the American genocide, several genocides, let's say, they put out dime novels depicting the indigenous people here as savages and that sort of thing before they tried to before they almost exterminated them. And they did the same thing with Birth of a Nation, when they a guy named Dixon made a book called The Klansman that was made into The Birth of a Nation in 1915. And in 1915, after that, you had a resurgence of the Klan. The Klan from the post-Reconstruction era had died down quite a bit, but it had a resurgence, and then it ends up with the largest number of Africans being murdered in lynching in 1919. I'm not counting the slavery, we'll have no way of counting that. But after so-called slavery was over, 1919 was the worst year of lynching, and it followed that movie and the resurgence of the Ku Klux Klan. So, advice is free, experience you pay for. If people are not taking the advice of the elders that this movie is dangerous, this movie is more than just, it's not humor, although it represents a whole climate of similar humiliation and degradation that's being done by our comedians, by our rappers. But this thing out and out uses the B word for a sister, uses the N word for brothers. It's not subtle. It's not subtle. And then they also, the thing they've done is that internationally, you have people that when they see a black face, because of this American cinema, they believe they already expect it to be something vile. If they start talking to you, they'll start cursing and they'll start using the N word because these movies have told them this is who we are. But when you get to the point where you're showing a young lady flinging period blood, her menses, at other students and writing with it and that kind of stuff like that, they're around the world, we're being seen as the scum of the earth. And this is going to have an impact on you when you travel or when other people come here, other people migrate here. They come here knowing the N word before they know.
Yeah. And you know, it's like I was saying I think we talked about in our previous program on how Malcolm talked about all of these movies that were put out that had us with the eyes all big and always scared and nervous, and you know, the whole humiliating movies that they put out on us. At the same time, they were colonializing Africa, and it made it easier for you to colonialize a people that are looked at as unmanageable, people that are docile, people that are like children. And right now, you can see in West Africa is getting some form of independence right now, and so we have to see the connection there as well, because if you perceive a people that are docile, that are violent, that are druggies, that are women or prostitutes, and they even have a scene. I don't know what episode, where the police are pulling and they see some young girls that are selling cookies. They're Girl Scouts, and he said, "Oh, they're starting young." Come on, really? You know, the most vile stuff you can think of, they put it in here, and like I was saying, they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing.
I shared some of this with my mother, especially about the series with the little girl, a 12-year-old girl, mind you. She's 12 years old in this animated Beyond Minstrel show, and where she has her first cycle. And I told her about not just the writing on the chalkboard, but also throwing it at her classmates. And she just simply said, "They can't do that." And I was like, "They did it, Mom. You know, they can't do that." And then, you know, they have the girl twerking up there on stage with other grown women at 12 years old. So this is actually borderline, and not borderline, this is pedophilia too, that they're putting on our people. And when you talked about how it's indicative of what they're showing everywhere, there's so many people who do not like this. Again, check recently, it was 7,600 plus people who gave it a thumbs up. And we bring this up a lot, but we should bring this up. There was 76,000 people who gave it a thumbs down, who don't want it, who do not want this. And so the people are outraged by this. And again, the thing is to organize that outrage and get us to mobilize and do something about it, which CEMOTAP is doing.
Okay, yeah, most definitely. All right, but brother, so what we can do is we can show the footage from the protests that took place simultaneously in New York and also in LA at the next Netflix headquarters, and that was June 5th. That was Wednesday of last week. So we're going to show some of the. We may run a little bit over, but we're going to go ahead and show LA and also New York. And this is some raw footage from those protests.
Cancel Netflix today! Cancel your Netflix account! Good times is bad times! racist reboot. Netflix knows exactly what they're doing. We don't have no 2-year-old drug dealing baby. That's a lie. Oh, Netflix and Kelsey to be canceled today. It's black people today. It'll be your race tomorrow. Cancel Netflix today. Good times is bad times. Don't go for this. Do not go for it.
12-year-old school children twerking. Cancel Netflix. Cancel Good Times. Take it off the air right now. With a committee to eliminate media offensive to African people. This is offensive. This is dangerous. Cancel Netflix.
That's right.
Making a statement. You know, we're just basically saying we're tired of these negative images, and the Good Times is just degrading.
Exactly.
I mean, it's one of the worst examples of putting some negative images out on our people that I ever seen.
Yeah, it's crazy. Norman Lear.
Of us to where we start accepting this foolishness, and now this foolishness becomes commonplace. It becomes that which all of us are accepting. Then the next move comes. We already know the criminalizing. You might as well lock them up. You saw what they look like on Good Times. They look like that on Good Times. That's what they're really like. Lock them up. Ship them out. The next Auschwitz. They started with dehumanizing individuals. And then it was easier when people bought that imagery. It was easier now to take negative and derogatory steps against these folks. Get ready, folks. This is just the first stage.
It's just first stage.
This is a battle for the minds and hearts, consciousness and spirituality of all of us. We are desensitized. The imagery in this buffoon piece of cartoon called Good Times, I haven't seen in any neighborhood. I haven't seen. You have to make up all of this nonsense. They went to a whole new level of depravity to show young girls on their menstrual cycles laying on the bed. Come on, quit playing. Netflix will no longer clown us, disrespect us, malign us, degrade us, and we take part in that. You can do what you want to do, but there's a consequence for it. And the consequence happens to be that we're going to cancel Netflix subscription.
Okay, greetings. My name is Raymond Duque, and I'm at your service. I serve as the First Assistant President General of the UNIA. That's the Universal Negro Improvement Association, the organization that the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey established on Monday, July 20th, 1914 in Kingston, Jamaica. And that organization would grow up to be having 12 million African members from 38 states and 41 countries on the planet. So wherever you see red, black and green, that's UNIA. But anyway, I'm here to serve our people, to let our people know that it's not acceptable. No matter how it's polished, you know, you can put up, what do you call that? You can put a lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. So whatever they're doing is just to denigrate and attack black people, black family, black manhood, everything. How dare any everybody desecrate our general, Harriet Tubman. I mean, having babies shoot at each other, no, this is unacceptable. It's not even for laughter, it's unacceptable. They wouldn't do this to anybody else. You know what Frederick Douglass said, that those who are whipped oftenest or whipped easiest. Well, we black people, we're saying now enough is enough. We need to stand up, come together and organize ourselves. This is unacceptable. Cancel your Netflix and let the whole world know that we will not stand by, allow this continued attack on black people. My name is Raymond Duguay, and I'm at your service.
Amen, amen, amen.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. I don't know how much more. I don't know how much more we can say on this. I just at this point, you have any update on what's actually happening? I know they had their stakeholder meeting on the 6th. Was there any report on anything from Netflix?
I think Brother Kwabena had some things he's heard.
Yeah, I talked to my sister this morning who saw footage from a news report on ABC. I don't know if it was ABC Los Angeles, or I think it may have been that Los Angeles, and I haven't seen it yet, but she shared that there was an Oriental person who was complaining about their images, how they portray them. And so that was a part of their meeting, the shareholders meeting. So maybe they may have been a shareholder, I'm not sure, but they sure commented on that, and that's what she shared with me. She was actually kind of upset because she was like, well, where is the coverage of us in New York and Los Angeles that was going on?
All of these things are done to obfuscate, confuse, to mix people up. You know, I've seen it before. I've seen when you had a demonstration against one person, they'll put the same headline that's in the black newspapers, but it'll be about a different person who is of a total different genre, person that has nothing to do with what you're talking about. In the case when we were around Lynn Jeffries, we had a person we had William Loren Katz, who had spoken out in favor of Dr. Jeffries, and then they put this, and so the headline on ours was something like, Russian Jewish scholar supports Dr. Jeffries in the struggle, and then they put out a newspaper the same day that has a person who is a Zionist racist from City College and saying that he's supporting Jeffries, but it's to confuse. I don't think it's accidental. They do those types of things. It's to confuse and misdirect. One of the things that I heard the brother in LA say, he mentioned the word desensitize. And I think that was very important with respect to the violence, because showing violent media has been shown in experiments to cause, people to be violent. They took an experiment with some young children where they showed them a movie. The young children were playing with particular toys. They gave the kids the toys. They let them play with it. Then they showed them a movie with other children whacking each other in the head with it. And then when they turned the movie off, of course, the children that had been playing peacefully with the toys one way began to whack each other in the head. And so the experimenter said that, well, the things that it does is, one, it teaches new behaviors. In other words, like they had the two, they were playing with the toys one way, but when they learn a different way from the TV, now they'll do that. Then it desensitized them to the violence, and then it disinhibited them from doing the violence. Now, with respect to the teaching new behaviors, Del Jones always pointed out that that's why youngsters hold a 9 sideways, because they so menace to society, where the young man is holding the 9 sideways. And little children know to hold a pistol in that way because there's a new behavior that they learn. Lastly, what's so important for us is that the experimenters didn't say this, but I noticed it. It also taught victim identification. The children didn't hit the teacher with it. The children hit each other with it. And so they constantly show you black people killing black people, other people killing black people. And what happens? We kill black people. Black people kill each other. And they're very careful. They're very careful not to show vengeance movies with, the kinds of movies they show where people take retribution again, and they have white movies like that all the time. But where a black person on their own goes out and starts taking retribution against whites who have oppressed them, they don't show those kinds of movies. If they look like they're showing it, they're going to have some little twist in the end where the person meets just the worst type of fate ever. So,
Yeah.
so these things, you know, as I said before, the most important thing to me, well, the images are very important because they help deliver the subliminal messages and the not so subliminal messages that we're worthless and that we deserve to be killed.
Yeah. Yeah, at this point, my main concern is to make sure that we get this information to as many people as we can, so that people can not only cancel Netflix but any other entity that's out there, whether it's the music industry that the brother deals with before. We have to start cutting that stream out as well. Anything that degrades us, anything that actually affects us in a negative way, we have to fight against that.
Thank you, brother. I just want to say the thing is that this is not a spectator sport. So lots of people look and they say, yeah, that's good or whatever it is. But if you really are taking it seriously, it's necessary for people when Kwabena is out in the streets in LA, when CEMOTAP is in the streets out in LA, to join them, because you actually will end up sending the opposite message if it appears that 3 people are interested or 7 people are the only people that are offended by this. This isn't a social media thing. They don't care about all these hits online. You go out there and disrupt business as usual, and that's when, when something can take place. That creates the climate. And this is not the end of a struggle. This is the beginning of a struggle. It's not just this particular Netflix series. It's the comedians. It's the rappers. It's the talk show hosts that feel that African people are fair game. We're the easiest, the lowest hanging fruit, and that they should dump every vile and sick thing that's in their mind on us. Seth MacFarlane has a particularly sick mind. And so the kinds of things he's talking about, if you go and review his history, you'll find out that these are the conflicts he has in him. And right now, I can't analyze somebody I haven't treated, but, you know, there's a piece in the New Yorker that says that his mother once masturbated a dog. Now I'm saying this is something that he's aware of and that they was humor in their office. So the fact of the matter is that all of that twisted stuff is projection. These are the things that are in his mind. Doing Gwyneth Paltrow. That was never a thing in Harriet Tubman's mind. That's a thing in his mind. Flinging period blood. The black women of my generation were particularly very sensitive about that. They didn't even want to say the word about, you know, the materials and stuff that you use for the, you know, the hygiene of materials. And maybe that's one extreme, but this extreme that he shows is it has no basis in reality. It's just something that's in his mind. And by having white writers put on the screen what's in the white mind about the African, what's in the European mind about the African is it's genocidal, because that's what's and I guess that's the other thing. This stuff reflects something much larger. It reflects the fascist mind. These people have things that they're planning. When they elected Trump, it's not Trump. It's the people that elected him that you got to worry about. It's that what he represents. This is much larger. He represents the Proud Boys and all of these militia groups and all that type of thing. January 6th was just was a small thing in comparison to the kinds of things that happen when these types of cultural productions are allowed to be used to scapegoat a particular people. And in this case, it's African people.
Well, I do want to say, though, as part of this animated minstrel show, they are African or Black writers who are writing a lot of this material on here. Just as you mentioned earlier, those who are writing a lot of these lyrics and rhymes, because you can get them to do that. I think about the showrunner Renetta Shepherd. I mean, her husband Devon Shepherd is writing a lot of this and bragging about it. You know, so there are other Black writers as culprits in this, and you know, as we know, producers and all of that.
They had Vietnamese that shot Vietnamese in Vietnam. They always change they always can find collaborators. So I'm sure the French had some collaborators. Certainly the Americans had some collaborators that helped them to fight those people. And all over the planet, they're able to get other people to do it. But the mind that's behind it and the group that's behind it is racist white people. Racist white people are the ones who, Amos Wilson said, they're the psychosexual father of the black, of the Uncle Tom, of the person who's doing those things. And they certainly are accountable, but they're puppets. And if you focus on them only, you don't get at the people who they have to, some attention has to be paid to them. But what I saw that in World War II, the French didn't do so much against the Vichy while they were in control of France. They had to beat the Nazis before they gave them what they deserved, what they gave their traitors what they deserved.
Yeah, well, I believe in beating up on both. The agent that you put in front of the racist, that seat, that Negro seat needs to be very hot. And the reason why, especially here in LA, our largest district here is the 8th district. They say more black people west of the Mississippi here in the 8th district, and we have city council person, and people don't realize in different areas there's different situations, but here in LA, the city council actually controls the sale of land and the usage of land. And what happens is when you put a brother in that position, which we do have by color only, and this is a problem. This is a problem because what happens is we could have had the first black-owned mall right here in LA, which is the Baldwin Plaza Mall. He authorized the sale of it to a white dude in Beverly Hills, and black people had the $40 million necessary to purchase it. We had a FIBA center that was here in Los Angeles. It was the Black Culture Center in LA, the last of the consciousness here in LA. And it was over 20-something years. It was right there on Crenshaw and Slauson, right across from Nipsey Hussle's place. Matter of fact, Nipsey used to come to our functions and a whole bit. Well, the first thing they did was after the Nipsey shooting, prior to that, about maybe a week before the shooting, they had the FIBA Center under surveillance. They put a car there, and they even put CCTV on it, showing you that you're being monitored. Then they made moves to evict, and they used black people to go on the radio and say we weren't taking care of the building and all the whole bit. Then eventually what they ended up doing is they moved the FIBA Center, which is the conscious black people, out. And now they have a group that's in our community that's more of a Negro organization that would make it very easy for gentrification to occur. You can't have the hardline black conscious in particular areas. And so I'm hard on not only the racists that actually made that happen, but also this Negro seat needs to get really hot. And so that's why even in the piece that Brother Kwabena and I did, the first one, I started off with Norman Lear and the other guy. I keep on the problem with his name. What's his name?
Seth MacFarlane.
McFarlane, yeah, him, and you got to see where that starts. But yeah, we can't let them off the hook because there's too many of us. In order for them to accomplish a lot, they need to have one of us on their team, and that's the problem. That's one of our problems here. I'm pretty sure you got that same problem out there where you're at.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you, how's that working for you? See, what you said is something a little different from what a lot of the masses of our people, they actually feel that you have to get to those people before you get to the racists. And you'll find that those rent-a-toms are a dime a dozen. You get rid of one and they will replace them to another. You've got to focus on who's doing it, who's pulling their strings. And if you really will examine it, you'll come up against people that people do not want to fight. They don't want to fight those people. That's who's behind it. That's who's doing it. You said you fight both. Yeah, you can fight both, but I tell you, don't get too distracted fighting a puppet. You'll have a bunch of splinters in your hand, and the guy holding the strings will just put in a new puppet. You can't, me and Brother Kwabena, we have this discussion all the time. I'm not soft on these people. It's a matter of strategically, they don't respond until they see their master whipped. Until they don't, and our people don't. these people are rentable. They have so many of them. They have created so many of them with this racist media that they replace them. You take one out, and then the next one comes in.
There's opposition against this, but the struggle, this battle with these beasts, and even when it comes to the struggle with the music, with the Clear the Airways project, we're often hit with you're not getting on the rappers enough, and some people say you're not getting on the people who control it. So we don't let the rappers off the hook. We understand, like Dr. McItosh just said, they'll just go get another rapper. If the rapper dies or shoot each other or goes to jail for doing something they said they should be doing in the song, or decides I'm gonna be conscious, I'm not playing this stuff anymore, they're gonna go ahead and find somebody else off the street to do this madness. So again, we don't let them off the hook because the system's not gonna let them off the hook. Nor those bullets they shooting at each other, it doesn't let them off the hook. However, the ones that really control is, as you said, is those ratchet music record companies, radio stations, and this kill black people music industry.
When you dig down, you'll find that the group is smaller than you think. The group of people, the same group of people making this media, are the same group of people that's buying that real estate and doing that gentrification and doing all those things. It's we in New York, we went after the European newspaper. We went after the New York Post, and that was a Murdoch entity. And I mean, we wrote about Murdoch. We exposed his business interests. We exposed his connections to intelligence. We exposed all types of things, and ultimately, we were able to bankrupt that newspaper. The blacks that want to attack the Toms first, they abound. So you can focus your attention on something else, frankly, because we want to hurt ourselves. We want to hurt something that looks like us more than we want to hurt anything else. We're mad at our own face, which this movie shows you, this video shows you also, this whole thing of like where they're calling each other ugly. And this is like $9.4 billion or something we're spending on beauty products and stuff because we feel that way. That's why we want to hurt each other first. Before we and I think it's also fear of the people who are actually doing these things. That we're the low-hanging fruit. We're easy to do. When I say we, I'm just talking about by skin color only. Some of these people are, they basically have become as worthless as the people that are engineering. But
there's a song from the Coup, the rapper Boots, Fat Cats and Bigger Fish. One of the best storytellers in hip hop. He finishes the song. He talks about immediately we need some media heat to say that gangs run the streets so the police can come in and beat them until they look inebriated. And then the people will appreciate it. And then that's the end of the song. I see how deep it can get. It reads macaroni on my birth certificate. Put Tang as my middle name, but I can't hang. I'm getting hustled, only knowing half the gang. Great song. Fat Cats, Bigger Fish. Again, he goes to this, he's a pickpocket, but he goes to this party to pickpocket, and he sees the mayor of the city, people like Jesse Jackson and those business owners coming in. So it's a Fat Cats, Bigger Fish. Check it out.
Well, my brothers, I don't want to belabor, brothers. It's real nice meeting you. You got so much knowledge, brother. I want to keep on talking. So hopefully we can do this another day. We can do this another day. But I think at this point, my main goal is to see if we can get as many people to cancel their Netflix. I did mine, and we might have to actually set another day that everybody can do it the same day. If we can connect with what's happening here on the West Coast with those out there, even on the East Coast and the South, and just put that word out there. Let's get a day. We may have to connect with someone who has a broader voice than us three, to be able to get that message across and have a day where the same day we just all cut it out the same day. They don't respect black people, but they do respect that green, and so
exactly.
we have
That's
to
the
hit
driving force.
Yeah, we have.
And as we roll, I want to just send some love because I was New York and LA as we deal with this piece of New York and LA. The brother Long John Washington, former Black Panther, just had his memorial ceremony today, and this evening there's a memorial ceremony for Baba Sekou Denga, who made transition early at the beginning of the year. Dr. McItosh, I know you have programs and stuff supporting our brother when he was just got out as a political prisoner. But again, warriors, and we got to continue to struggle, continue to fight. We got to pick up that weapon of these brothers, man.
Well, you know, Brother Kwabena, your role in getting LA CEMOTAP on board was very helpful, and that's what we're going to have to do. But organizers have to work much harder, apparently, than we. It's not how. In other words, you could be working very hard, but if you can't get the results you want, that's the information that you got to work harder and smarter. There's some reason that so many people have not heard of this, and that so many people are angry passively and don't realize that there are things we're going to have to do. Otherwise, things are going to be done to us.